Good afternoon, everybody. It's David Schlotthauer here with a detailed tropical weather outlook and discussion live here for Monday, September the 30th, 2024. This is the last day of September before we turn into October tomorrow. Can't believe it. Hurricane season is flying right by before our very eyes. So, looking at the GFS model here, satellite imagery is giving us some issues today. Actually, let me see if I can bring it up through cyclonicwx.com because it's not working on tropical tidbits for some reason. So let me go to the entire Atlantic basin if I could even do that, and then we will get started. So let me go to that. Okay, so they don't have an entire... yeah, they don't. They do not. Tropical West Pacific, yeah. So, yeah, we don't have any Atlantic viewing at all for some reason. I guess the satellite data is out temporarily. Hopefully we'll get that back soon. So we will skip on by with that in today's live stream, and we're going to be taking a look at the tropics and looking at our models, because there are some signs that there's another system that is developing out here off of Africa, and that could go further west and be a little stronger than what we're seeing here. This is Kirk, by the way. Kirk is likely to turn out to sea, so that's not going to hurt anyone. However, we're still watching the Northwestern Caribbean and also our system back here behind Kirk that could develop. So looking at the GFS model, this is the 12Z output of the 850 millibar cyclonic vorticity. This is how much spin there is in the atmosphere. The more spin there is, the oranger, the redder colors you have. That's the color shading showing us how much spin there is. Okay, and this is at 5,000 feet. So as we go forward, we can see there's our system right there on the GFS model in the Northwestern Caribbean. And then here is Kirk. Wow, Kirk really going to strengthen very quickly. We will be looking at the National Hurricane Center in a little bit on that. And then, of course, we have our area of interest that could develop too into our next tropical depression, storm, or hurricane. Okay, so that's players on the field. Actually, let's go and look at the National Hurricane Center because I like to go in order with this, not that. Let's go here. And so as we look at the National Hurricane Center, there are quite a few areas to watch. Let me go to there. There we go. A lot better so you all can see that. So as we scroll down, you can see there is Joyce, 35-mile-an-hour system. So technically, we still have 3 named storms in progress right now. We had Isaac, that was almost a Category 3 hurricane, only reached about 105 miles an hour. There's Joyce, 35. Here's Kirk, going to become our next major hurricane, most likely, as it turns to the northwest. So that's not going to be bothering anyone unless your shipping interest, so if you're out there going across the Atlantic delivering goods to, say, Africa or to the United Kingdom or even to the Azores, then of course lots of surf, some rough conditions out there on the waters are likely. And then here's our system out here in the Caribbean that has that medium chance. This has decreased a little bit, and it does not look like that is going to develop. There's not a whole lot of model support on that developing, but still something to watch over the next 7 days. There's a medium chance on that over that 7-day period. But this is going to be the area right here. This out here, my guys, is going to be the one that is likely to develop. There's a 90% chance of that developing in the next 7 days. In fact, there are early indications that could become a formidable hurricane as it actually goes further west, and it could impact the islands. We'll have to keep an eye on that because depending on the steering flow out here, this could go as far west as perhaps this, or it can turn out to sea relatively quickly, or it could even go that way. Okay, so there's a lot of uncertainty with that system, but right now there are early indications that this could get very close to the Windward Islands in the next 7 days, or maybe a little after that, more like the next 8 to 10 days. Because Joyce out here is weakening, and so there's a ridge that's going to try to build on in, and that's going to help usher this system westward. So let's go and take a look at Kirk. We're just going to take a look at the products from the National Hurricane Center really quickly. Here is Isaac. So let me go to the graphics. So this is Isaac. Winds 60 miles an hour. This is now post-tropical cyclone Isaac. So this is one of the last advisories, I believe, from that system, and it is moving to the east-northeast at 17 miles an hour. And this could get close to the UK area, the United Kingdom, near England area. Okay, and so, yeah, some rough surf, you bet. It's going to be a problem out there, and just take that in consideration. Here's Joyce. Not going to do much at all. This is really weak. It's a tropical depression, and in fact could be a remnant low by tonight or by tomorrow, depending on how this all evolves. And this is moving to the north, barely moving there at 2 miles an hour, so nearly stationary. And yeah, winds 35 miles an hour, so that is in the weakening stage. And then, of course, we got Kirk out here, and this is not going to be a tropical depression. It already is a tropical storm. And this is going to be a very strong hurricane, perhaps, probably on the order of about 115 to almost 130 mile an hour winds that are expected. But again, of course, this is not going to impact Bermuda or the Windward Islands, which is good. But any boaters, any shipping interests, again, that deliver goods from the United States all the way over to, say, Africa, or to New England, or to, say, Greece or Portugal, if you're cruising over there to, say, Spain, this is going to be a big deal. This is going to have a lot of implications, a lot of surf, a lot of wave action emanating out from this. And even, yes, rip currents. If this gets close enough, this could bring a lot of rip currents to perhaps the eastern seaboard, which will probably happen. We're expecting some surf there anywhere between, say, 10 to 15 feet out of that system. But this is going to be a Category 3 hurricane, most likely, as it moves generally northwestward. Okay, and then we have another system behind that we'll have to monitor. So I hope you all are doing great. If you guys are liking the content, please subscribe for more updates. All right, so let's go and take a look here. And by the way, we are close to 30,000 subscribers. So if you haven't subscribed yet, please do so. We're literally 20 subscribers away from 30,000. Okay, so here's a look at the GFS model, looking at the next couple of days. And as we take a look at this, you can see that we do have that tropical storm or hurricane developing. That is Kirk on our list of named storms. Yeah, backloaded season. And then going forward, look how big that system is right there. Pretty big on the vorticity plot. Looks black there, a black dot, almost like a black hole, right? And that is going to be moving north. And then look at our second system right here on the GFS, showing another tropical storm or hurricane developing towards the weekend of October 5th and the 6th. So very busy early October coming up. 2 major hurricanes we are going to have to watch. And then on the GFS, though, this system turns out to see relatively early, but the European and the Canadian models are showing otherwise, and that we'll be looking at those in just a second. But that turns out to see it doesn't impact anyone other than the Azores Islands. That's where it looks like it's going to turn towards. So you can see it turning north and then northeast towards the Azores Islands by the middle of October. And it looks like after that, things could get quieter in the Atlantic. We're going to see about this area right here. More spin out there, more energy, more convergence along the intertropical convergence zone. We'll see if anything spins off or spins up after we get past, say, the more likely the 10th or the 11th of October. Now, looking at the Canadian model, so that's a GFS. So the reason why I'm a little concerned about our second system is you can see, of course, the Canadian shows Kirk developing pretty formidably. But look at what we have also. Nothing on the GFS over the Gulf of Mexico, but the Canadian model does have that system. You can see it right here approaching Florida. Actually, let's zoom in really quickly so you all can see that. There is our area of spin. There's our vorticity, very broad in nature. So we'll see if this actually spins up relatively quickly. It would be more likely a tropical depression at most here. Actually, maybe even a tropical storm with broad tropical storm force winds moving over the Florida coast. And then it could deepen a little bit more as it interacts with a cold front. And you can see it developing more frontal futures, a warm front, and then a cold front. So it kind of does that transition there. Okay, so we'll see about that on over Florida. Would bring a lot of rainfall to that central Florida area, like Orlando, Florida, by the first weekend, or wait, no. Yeah, the first weekend of October, that is. So not this last weekend, but this coming up weekend would be an area to really watch closely for. Okay, so now as we do take a look at the Canadian model now, going back to our actually, let's just look at our wind forecast. Actually, let's do our low-level wind. So you can see there's our system right there developing. Again, there's a lot of uncertainty with this right now until models have a better handle. But really far south here, way further south than the systems that we had in early September. They were coming off of Africa way up here. So this is much further south, well south of the Cabo Verde Islands, and that's because our intertropical convergence zone is shifting southward as we go throughout September, or the last day of September into early October. And that means these systems have a better opportunity of moving further west if the steering currents allow. And so in this case, the Canadian model, look what it does. System actually wants to get relatively close to the Windward Islands. Not like on top of the Windward Islands, but I mean in striking distance. I mean, this is a 10-day forecast. This could shift further southward or could shift further northward, could go further, be faster or slower. And that's why we have to watch this second system here coming off of Africa. Okay, the first system, that's Kirk. We know that's not going to be a big problem to any land interests, but to shipping interests, it's going to be an issue. But the second system could get close to these Windward Islands by the 10th of October. Okay, there is some model signal coming from the Canadian on that, and even from the Euro, and I'll show you the European here in just a second. In fact, we will show you the European model right now. And so this is the free version of the European from Tropical Tidbit, so I only get 1 day increments with this, but it does the best it can do to give us what might end up happening. And looking at the central main development region, again, looking at our winds, we can see that the European does show this developing. Actually, wait, no, it's this system right here. Yeah, it's this system back here. Here's Kirk going to develop pretty quickly. And as we go forward, you can see that pressure really drop, 949 millibars on the Euro. But look what comes after that. This system does develop, and that gets down to 950 millibars. Now, this is far enough away on this run. It's further away than the Canadian model shows it. If we look at previous runs, though, it has shifted a teeny bit further west, just a little bit, not by a whole lot. But if this continues to shift further west, then these islands really need to be watching this. And then eventually, if this gets even further west, then maybe the eastern seaboard of the United States may need to watch this. But not right now. It looks like for the time being on the last couple of runs, this could be an out-to-sea storm, but a pretty close call. Maybe Bermuda, if this kind of does this, turns north a little later, this could impact Bermuda yet again. And Bermuda has had a little too much this year with Ernesto. Now this system coming up could be a little bit of a headache to you all living in Bermuda in itself. So now looking at the icon model, let's zoom in a little closely. We're going to look at the surface wind plot, also showing the same idea. So you can see over the next 24 hours, there is Kirk right there. So there's Kirk, and there is our next system. I think this would be, golly word, this would be 98L or 99L. Mistracked or misthought the numbering of Invest. We'll see. I think it would be 98 or 99L. But as we go forward, we can see that develops too as it goes further west. And look at it. It is moving generally this direction. If we actually follow my arrow, you can see it right in there. And that would aim it right towards the northernmost windward islands. Okay, this would get it all the way into, say, Puerto Rico. If you're in, say, the Virgin Islands, that's a 955 millibar system, by the way. That is pretty deep. Pretty deep. And that's why we are going to need to watch this one. Which, by the way, the icon, the 12Z icon, wants Kirk down to 933 millibars. That's a very deep system. 933 millibars. That would be a powerful Category 3, 4, maybe even a high-end Category 4 hurricane in that time frame. And that's a 5-day forecast. So, yeah, Kirk really going to be spinning out there pretty insanely strong while we're also keeping an eye on our next system. We'll see if that trends further west, further south, in future model runs. Okay. And then here's a previous model run on the icon, showing again the same thing with Kirk becoming pretty strong out there in the Atlantic. Okay, so with that being said, let's take a look now at our shear forecast. Actually, let me show you the icon for people that live, say, in the Gulf of Mexico, around the Gulf. Okay, so that system right here doesn't do much, right? Actually, this is the analysis. So not much reflection on the icon model. So go forward, though, you can see how it consolidates, and then it might strengthen a little bit to a tropical storm in the Gulf of Mexico in the next 7 to 8 days. That's why there's still a medium chance of tropical development on that system in itself, because we could have tropical-like winds and some heavy rainfall with that system. And you can see there, Florida could get impacted yet again with a lot of rain and a lot of wind with that Gulf of Mexico storm. Okay, so that's kind of that system. So now let's go over and look at the total precipitable water. This is basically kind of a preview of how much water vapor there is in the atmosphere. So you can see as we look at the next 12 hours, thank you, Angelina Commander, for the $20 donation. I do appreciate all the donations, folks, over the last week. This really means a lot to me. So thank you for the donation as well. If you want to donate to the channel, you are more than happy to. All right. Can't force you, but if you want to, you're more than happy to. All right, so looking at the Canadian, look at how moist the atmosphere is down here. A lot of moisture to work with, a lot of latent heat release, a unstable isotropic atmosphere, so really cool aloft, colder than it was back in, say, late August, early September. So we have instability to work with all that moisture down there piled up. That is why we're going to see two intense systems. Kirk going to become a major hurricane. That's what we know for sure. And then our next system right here could be another big one. Where does that go? We are going to have to wait and see. All right. So that's why, anyone living on the Windward Islands, don't get prepared now, but make sure you're just, you're monitoring your tropics, right? You know the idea. It's October or it's late September. We still have to watch the tropics closely. All right. So now going forward in time, let's go scroll through the next 2 days. There is Kirk right there on the Canadian, and then it really develops. Now, of course, the Canadian is not very bullish on this, but this kind of gives us a location generosity. Man, a little tongue twister there. Going out to say this is 7 days, another amount of moisture, or a lot more moisture, not much dry air to work with this. So nice, good pile of moisture surrounding our next system that develops. And then look at what happens. It just, there's a lot of moisture to work with. There's no dry air at all. As what I can see, these browner colors do indicate drier air. That's what that shows, drier air here. But you notice the way the system looks like, there's more easterly flow on top of the system. So that's not going to force any of the drier air into the system at all. And in fact, if we look at our wind shear forecast on that system that comes off of Africa, you can see right now it's dealing with a little bit of wind shear, actually not a whole lot. Shear anywhere between 5 to 10 knots, but look at, shear doesn't really pick up. Actually, no, wait, that's Kirk, my bad. Got myself confused. So little shear to work with our next system, but watch what happens. It really moves into a lighter environment here with lighter shear. Our shear vectors, I showed you this with Helene, our shear vectors are outward. Okay, so there's no vertical wind shear at all. Maybe as much as 5 to 10 knots is the strongest we're seeing that shear over this system. And then look at, then it moves into a more lighter sheared environment. And just again, how much latitude this gains will be very important, because as you know, there's not a whole lot of shear to work with. All right, sorry about that, folks. So you can see there is a little bit of easterly flow, but again, our system's moving generally with this upper level flow. So again, that the net value to that is that the shear is going to be pretty light overall. We're not talking about shear values very oppressively strong to cause this to not develop at all. All right, actually, that was a shear. Okay, so we just showed you the upper level winds, and so let's skip on through. So here's a look at the satellite based from the Canadian model, and you can see, let me see if I could bring up, okay, yeah, the GFS does a little bit better at it. So you can see there is Kirk. Unfortunately, we can only go out to 5 days, but I'll bring up Weather Bell so we can go a little further out. But there is Kirk. Look at that eye right there. That's a nice large eye on the GFS model. And then look at here. You can see there is our next system already developing an eye. So a pretty intense system in about 5 days coming off of Africa right there. That's incredible to see that. That really develops in a hurry on the GFS model. And at the end of the day, you can see those winds there being quite strong. So let me go to the GFS to show you the extended satellite. Actually, you know what? The European has a more high res and they go further out. So let me go to that and let's switch gears and look at Weather Bell. So here's a satellite forecast over the central Atlantic. Maybe there is no central Atlantic. Darn it, there isn't. But this will give us a general idea. So you can see there is Kirk spinning up right there on the Euro. Look how intense that is. That's a very formidable eye-like future. That's going to be one of those systems that it's a good thing it's not hitting land. And so for once we could actually watch and see how this develops, and might even have to fly through this with my flight simulator for members only. So it would be a members only live stream. If I do that, that would probably be Saturday or this coming Saturday, since I'm not working. We may just pull off of a live stream for the heck of it. And then there comes our next system right there towards the end of the model. We have a pretty intense inner core here with our next system with that eye-like future. Yes, so definitely a busy one out there in the tropics, and that will remain the case probably through at least the 10th or the 15th of October. Once we get past the system, things may get a little quieter indeed, but I'll tell you right now, until then, we may have two major hurricanes to watch. So now looking at the European ensemble forecast. So this is the blend of different members to make the ensemble forecast. And as we look forward here, so let me go and look at, don't think we can get a little closer, can we? Actually, we can. No, we can't. So it's unfortunate. Actually, we can. There we go. So here's a look at the ensemble. There is Kirk going out to sea, and look at some of these members here. Some of them are pretty intense. We got one right here. I believe that's one 915 millibars right there. I'm not trying to sneeze. And so look at all the members showing a pretty formidable hurricane here, major hurricane on pretty much all of the ensemble members. And there is a strong signal right here. Our second system developing off of Africa there, showing us at this point that would probably be a tropical storm or hurricane on the model. And then going forward, we can see how that develops. And look at some of these members still bringing this to the Windward Islands. There's a decent spread here of all of the model members. This ellipse that I drew up showing us, yeah, some members bring it well, turn it out to sea very quickly. Some don't turn it out to sea very quickly at all. And so you can see the spread here in the ensemble, the different members that run that forecast, showing us a range of possible outcomes. And some of these are intense in category 4 or category 5 reach. In fact, some bring it all the way down to even 9. Yeah, like right here. Here's a group of models. All of these right here are category 4 or greater intensity. In fact, a couple of them show a category 5 hurricane with winds over 180 miles an hour. So that would be a big deal. All right, that would be a very serious deal. And yeah, right here, this member right here, that's down to 904 millibars. So that would be a very, 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 very intense Cat 4, Cat 5 hurricane. Yeah, that would be a Dorian-like situation with its wind intensity if pressures did get that low. Okay. So that's what the ensemble is showing with that. Now, while there's not as much members that bring this over the islands, do not take this into consideration that, there's not many of them going over the islands. This could shift further south, okay? And that's why we're here talking about it. And we're still waiting from weather models to see if we have our new ensemble runs out, our 12Z output, to see what that actually shows. In fact, we will see that if that is currently out right now. So let's go over to there. Yes, so the 12Z is out, and so we're going to look at that. We're just going to use our full screen so you can see this a little bit more better. Okay, so let me zoom out. There we go. So there you all go. You can see it a lot better. So as we forward this, you can see all these pink tracks right here, of course. This is Kirk out here. Those are all major hurricane tracks. Pressures below 950 millibars. So you can see tropical storm here, hurricane here, major hurricane over here with all those pink magenta colors. So that's Kirk alone. As we look at our next system, this does go a little further away from the islands. But on the 0Z last night, this was actually, quite frankly, a little closer. We had some members that brought this major hurricane intensity over the Windward Islands. Now, they have shifted a little bit further east on this run, but we'll see. Again, they can shift back again. But this is also showing the majority, showing a major hurricane out here. And in fact, some are showing a Cat 5 hurricane that far out. Okay, but that doesn't mean it will happen, but it's signals that we look for. Now, what is possible here is some members in the Gulf of Mexico do show the potential for something to develop. Maybe a tropical depression or storm, maybe a low-grade hurricane with some of those members in the red. You can see some of the red tracks there showing us a hurricane there impacting near Florida. See, there's one there, there's one there, there's another one, and there's like 5 members showing us a hurricane in the Gulf of Mexico. So yeah, we're not going to turn our focus off that very much. But wow, what comes out here is going to be something we're going to really have to watch, okay? By the way, you all, be sure to subscribe if you haven't already. We are 20 subscribers away from reaching 30,000, all right? Goal here is 30,000 by the end of September. We will see if I reach my goal or not. So thank you all if you do subscribe to the channel. Okay, so now another way we can see this is on the, let's go to Weather Bell. Again, on our chances of a tropical depression to form in this area are at 30 to 40. But if we go to our tropical storm chances, also 30 to 40%. And our hurricane chances on that one system out to day 8 to 10, we're out to perhaps 20 to almost 30 days. So there is definitely an elevated chance. In fact, if we go out to 6 to 7 days on the chances of a hurricane, 64 knots or greater, there's a 40% chance that this becomes a hurricane out here. And then, of course, you have Kirk. There's a 80%, well, actually, if we go back another frame, there is a 100% chance that this becomes a hurricane in about 4 to 5 days on the European Ensemble forecast, okay? So that's kind of what that is showing. And when we look at the full run, you can see there is Kirk. There is, well, can't see Kirk. Oh, actually, yeah, there's Kirk. We can't see our tropical storm very much till this clears, till Kirk moves further north. Okay, so now looking at our upper ocean heat content. This is pretty concerning, okay? Not just for Kirk, because Kirk is going to be moving over to this area of upper ocean heat content. So in the medium or in the more moderate range of upper ocean heat content that Kirk is going to be encountering. But if we get our second system that is way down here, okay, I repeat, if it's way down here, which it is, and if it goes this way and then turns northwest and then goes north eventually, there's a lot more upper ocean heat content to work with that second system, which explains why some of the models, like the European model, are going very bullish with it. Actually, the European model wants us to get down to a Category 4 hurricane, which is very aggressive for a model that has been pretty conservative this hurricane season, going pretty aggressive with that second system. So that is something to consider. But a lot of upper ocean heat content over here where this next system goes, and also a lot of upper ocean heat content still even so, we had Hurricane Helene moving through. This did not turn up the water very much. It really did not dent the upper ocean heat content very well. And that is a concern for our next system that develops. Man, there's just so much heat over here, and that is why we do need to watch this one eventually in the Gulf of Mexico. Okay. Now, looking at our upper ocean heat content anomaly, far above average throughout much of the central deep tropics of the Atlantic, including for the southwestern Atlantic. No doubt about that at all. Well above average in much of the Gulf of Mexico. So that is going to be a concern here when we get our next system that develops, or if it does develop, it's going to encounter a lot of upper ocean heat content for development into, maybe a tropical storm or hurricane in the Gulf. Again, unfortunately, got some bad news. And then, of course, our system here going to encounter a lot of that out there in the deep tropics. Sea surface temperature anomalies are definitely above our, actually, let's just go to that, and then we'll go to our SST anomalies. So definitely above average. Again, look at this. Water temperatures are in the low to mid 80s out here. Actually, more in the middle to almost upper 80s. This red here is sea surface temperatures around 30 to 31 Celsius. So that is mid to upper 80s in Fahrenheit. And then we have mid to upper 80s in Fahrenheit in the Gulf of Mexico and in the Caribbean. And then the deep tropics, really warm too. So definitely concerning here. And when you think about the 80-degree isotherm, that is pretty far north. Okay, that is way up over here in the black. So you can think about all of our systems that develop are going to be encountering very ripe sea surface temperature anomalies for significant hurricanes out there. And you can see this too, sea surface temperature anomaly showing us that water temperatures are well above average, anywhere between about 1.5 degrees to, as warm as 2 degrees. Look at this, 2 degrees above normal in Celsius. So that is pretty substantial. That is like 7 to 8, like 4 to 5 degrees, 5 to even 6 degrees above normal there. So again, just super favorable conditions, including the Gulf of Mexico, super favorable too. And that is a problem. That really is a concern for what is to come. All right. Any questions, anybody? Any questions at all? Wow, not a huge turnout in this live stream at all, like we had 2 days ago. So if you guys haven't subscribed yet, please do so. Please do so. We have to hit 30,000 subs, people. We do. We got to get there before October. We can still do it, though. We can still do it. Also, ring the bell icon, too, if you do subscribe. What's up, Michelle? How are you doing? Just got here. What is the storm headed? Where is the storm headed again? So if you're referring to the Gulf of Mexico, it's going to kind of just hang out over there. But on the, let's just use a European model. It's probably a little bit more realistic. Kind of. There is differences in the modeling on that. But if you're referring to the system out there in the central Atlantic, this is going to go northwest. But again, this is a 10-day forecast. I want to make it clear that's a 10-day forecast, and this could still shift around. This could still go further south and further west, or this can go further to the north and east. Okay, right now on the European model, in 10 days, it is showing a formidable Category 2 and 3 hurricane, perhaps. On the last run, you should see yesterday's run. It was showing a Category 3, almost. Actually, it was showing us a Category 4 hurricane. Yeah, it was showing us a Category 4 hurricane. In this model, though, it is not showing that. But you can definitely get an idea on the track here. Second system a little further west than our Kirk storm. But again, don't feel like that, oh my goodness, I'm glad it's not going to hit the islands. That's a good thing. That really is, right? Well, 10 days. 10 days out, folks. 10 days. I want to really emphasize that. 10 days out, and look at the 10-day forecast error. You can see that there are some members that bring it over here, but there are some members that bring it over here. So you can see a huge spread in the Ensemble model output here from the Euro, showing us a lot of uncertainty, a lot of range of possible outcomes. We do not know for sure, okay? And this could still shift further west again. You can see the previous run had this possibly hitting the islands. So we cannot say for a fact that this is going to or will not hit the islands. What's up, Jesse? How are you doing? Let's see. Let's get to questions. I did. Can you check out Typhoon Kithion? I think it's Kithi. Yeah, it's like Kithion. Yeah, Catheon is really strong and it is going to get stronger over the net. Well, this is this afternoon. A Category 4 typhoon to the southwest of Taiwan. That's on the H-Wharf. Let's see what actually the H-Mon doesn't show it. I wish we would get all the models over there. Yeah, there's Catheon on the Krathon, I think it is called. I do not understand why I'm getting so many bots on this. I'm going to actually contact YouTube after this. And I have a lot of bots that are joining and spamming. What's up, Beans? How are you doing? So that is, again, that typhoon to that I'm keeping a close eye on that, but I'm not really tracking it very much. Here's what it looks like, though, on the Zoom Earth. Right here, that's a Category 4 typhoon. So it is strong, and it is going to begin weakening, and actually it's going to hit Taiwan. In the next... Yeah, this would be about 24 to 36 hours before it hits that area. That's good, Beans. Glad to hear. What's up, Shane Bowers? How are you doing? Yeah, TJ, I didn't even realize that. Yeah, there is Jebi right there. Jebi is going to become strong. Actually, could become a hurricane, and then it's going to be way up here into Alaska, or eventually going to go well into Alaska. Pretty strong storm, though, in the Gulf of Alaska right now on the satellite imagery. Yep, it's that time of the year. Fall is here. And I cannot believe that it's October. Tomorrow's October. Literally. Man, September just went by like that. It really did. Pretty fast. And believe it or not, it's going to be October, or it's going to be November before long after October. But I do want to say thank you for all the support, though, over the last week or so. Actually, over the last couple of weeks, tracking Helene. Actually, before Helene formed and after Helene is, and now we have more systems out here that we're going to need to watch. But you could only do that if you do subscribe to the channel. You're very welcome, Soil to Soul. Thank you so much. I'm glad I'm one of the best. I do appreciate that very much. I do appreciate that. Thank you so much, Beans. Thank you so much. The European area also got a new name. The European, the Euro, I thought you said the European model. The European area also got a new name. Itor, well north of European. This is probably Isaac. There's no name up there, by the way. Maybe it's just a European thing. Of course, okay, these bots. I'm taking care of it, Alex. I guess so, Austin. So, any questions, anybody? Any questions? Man, it's only been 45 minutes. Well, I'll be here for another 30 minutes or so. Oh my gosh, these bots. Goodbye. Titan, you're special. Yeah, by the way, though, we do have Kirk out here that is going to become a 125 mile an hour system. So that is possibly a category 4. And for those that are watching, if you have not become a member today, I might be streaming this via Flight Simulator for members only. Gonna fly into that system to see what it actually looks like. So if you all want to participate in that, it will be for members only. You're very welcome, Titan. Get to work, Titan. Just put the person on, hide them. Just hide them, Titan, if they're spamming. Just hide them. Just don't delete their messages. Don't put them on timeout. Just hide them. Thank you. All right, so... TJ Flack, maybe. There's a chance. This is the latest NHC right now. We don't got any new updates from them yet. But yeah, definitely a busy season out there, out in the Atlantic. Pretty crazy. Pretty crazy. How's that high pressure for next week? Let's take a look at the 500 millibar pattern. So if we look at the 500 millibar steering flow, let's just look at the European forecast because it's GFS is probably more likely an outlier scenario. So we can see this is the 500 millibar pattern on tropical tidbits. And going out to 10 days, we can see there is a ridge of high pressure over here. See, if we did not have Kirk around to erode that ridge, then this system right down here would easily move right towards the west. Probably more so likely this system would even go like that. But because we have Kirk here, there's a weakness in the ridge to begin with, and the ridge doesn't really have much time to build in quick enough to allow this next system to actually go further west. But that could change depending on how quick Kirk moves out of the way to allow this ridge to build back to the west. Will be important on what our second system here does. But that would be the next one to have more concern about or to monitor closely in future updates. No, Kirk is 50 mile an hour winds right now. As of the advisory. Yeah, it's 50 miles an hour. right now, and we'll see if it goes up a little bit more. So, David, have you seen two hurricanes combine with each other? Heidi, no, I have not. And I don't think that's even possible. That's not even possible. In rare cases, it may happen, but it doesn't happen very often. One hurricane will win out the other. If one is weaker than the other, then, then one will get eaten up over the other hurricane. Fujiwara effect with hurricanes are actually not the best. It actually tears a storm apart. Wouldn't surprise me if Kirk gets to Cat 4. Yeah. It wouldn't surprise me either. You're very welcome, Heidi. By the way, if you haven't liked the stream yet, please like the stream too. Is Helene remnants will become subtropical storm? Beyond is Helene remnants will become subtropical storm. So there is a chance that it does move back out. Let's look at the models again. It is a possibility, pretty broad in nature though. On the Canadian, let's see what the GFS actually shows. You see the GFS does show some circulation there actually. Quite interestingly, it does do that. But right now it does not show. There is a little vortex though, right here. So interestingly enough, it does have the opportunity of maybe some redevelopment. But it doesn't look pretty substantial because, again, there's going to be a little bit of... there's going to be a lot of dry air on that. So actually, probably not going to do much at all. Thank you, Liam. Yeah, I'm going to probably start doing videos again tomorrow. Just today is just a live stream. So we'll probably return to the video side of things tomorrow. Will Kirk impact Europe? Hurricane Gilma is asking. Kirk could very well impact Europe. You can see it right here going up. Could certainly bring a lot of rainfall. Actually, that is... yeah, that could bring quite a bit of rainfall and some strong winds to that area. So there is a possibility, actually. Is the Atlantic colder water than the Gulf? Well, if you look at the North Atlantic, of course it is. But overall, in the deep tropics and the Gulf, pretty much the same as far as the amount of water or as the amount of warming is. What if the outflow from Kirk affects potential next storm and makes it weaker and the ridge has time to build over it? Then, Jacob, then we'll cross that bridge when that happens. But right now, I don't see that really happening, especially if the system could get strong enough. Actually, On the GFS, it does show it much weaker, but the European model, we'll just use a 0Z run from last night, does show it moving generally west-northwestward. And that's what strengthening systems actually do. They'll end up moving that way anyhow. Beyond, Isaac was not a category 3. And they're probably not going to post-rate that in their analysis. There's no need to because it did not impact any land areas. So I don't think they're going to post-rate it or upgrade it in their post-analysis. Hey, maybe Heidi, my dream spot of living is actually in the Great Lakes. I wouldn't mind living in the Great Lakes or the Northeast. I mean, like upstate New York area, Vermont, maybe Maine. I wouldn't mind living over there. Sweet Titan, you're on it. I don't know why, TJ Black. These bots are so annoying. They are really annoying. I do not know why they've been a problem in the last couple of streams. This stream and the stream before that. Yeah, the weather over here the next week is going to be pretty hot. It's October, for Pete's sakes. I'm technically thinking it's October. It's not officially October, but somewhere in the world it actually is October. In the Eastern Hemisphere. So if you go to, like, say, Japan, if you go to India, it's already October 1st over there. So it is October 1st somewhere across our area. It's because you're becoming more popular, which is awesome. But the downside of that is more bots. Laughing out loud. Yup. It's unfortunate. By the way, if you haven't subscribed yet, please do so. Man, still 20 subs away. I'm from getting to 30,000. I'll get to 30,000 in October sometime. When in October, we don't know. So, almost there. Almost. We're so close, so close. I can barely see it. I'm sorry, I'm over promoting. Gotta get to 30K. We gotta get to 30K. Then I'll relax again. I'll relax, I promise. I'll stop promoting myself overly precious. But until we get to 30K, it's good. I'm gonna keep on saying, please subscribe, you know. Don't subscribe just to get me to 30K, but honestly, do you like my content? Do you like what I do? Do you like my live streams? Do you like my videos? Do you like my posts? Do you like everything that I do on the channel? If you do, then ask yourself, man, should I subscribe to this guy or not? I would highly recommend doing so, you know. You can get the update. It said 29,981. Yes, that is correct. Ooh, we're 5 subs away. Oh, let's do it, folks. We can do it. We can literally do it. There it is. Let's put this in a full screen so that way it's not in the way of anything. So, yeah, I don't like them, David, but I love them. That's even better. Thank you so much. This is strange. Indian summer, though, there has been a frost freeze hardly anywhere. I know, it's been a really warm fall, and that is to be expected. In fact, if we go... Actually, I'll save that for another video. Oh gosh, Stop it. Stop it. You all, please unsubscribe from Beyond. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I don't think you have hardly any subs. Let me actually take a look at your channel really quickly. Off air. Oh, you only have 95 subscribers. Looks like a lot of singing on your music channel. That's awesome to hear. In Wisconsin, the lilacs are already blooming. Yeah. The thing I like about Indian summer, though, is it's a dry heat. It's a very dry heat. There's no wind. You get cool nights, except what we're about to have isn't going to be much cool at all. It's supposed to be like in the 70s at night here. Not just here, but you go to San Francisco, it's supposed to be like in the upper 60s at night with temperatures near 100 in San Francisco. Yeah, this heat wave is going way west. It's going to be impacting the Bay Area. It's going to be impacting the coast. It's going to be very warm there. By the way, if you don't, I really shouldn't get this channel involved with SWC, but if you haven't subscribed to the Sacramento Weather Center page, I have not done much on that recently because of Helene, but I will be putting a lot more content out on that. I really need to get that channel vamped up, actually. That's now the Sacramento Weather Center channel is only hyper local. That's only for the Sacramento, the Sierras, so like Lake Tahoe, Quincy, Reno-ish, the Bay Area. That's mainly what that covers. That is not a national channel like this one. All right, so if you are in the Sacramento area, if you're in the Central Valley, from Redding points southward to Merced, and if you're in the mother lobe of the Sierra, if you're in the mountains of the Sierra, if you're in the Bay Area spots, I do a little bit of the Bay Area as well. Be sure to check out that channel. If you want a link to it, folks, just let me know in chat. I'm not going to just send it out there because otherwise I just do not want people that are living in Florida to subscribe to that channel and expect them or expect me to cover Florida, okay? So, how many monitors do I got? I have 3 monitors. I may be getting a 4th one, though, sometime this winter. Yeah, 4th monitor. What's up, A-Train77? How are you doing? Look at the 12Z ECMWF ensembles for Kirk. Laughing out loud. Yeah, so let me go over to that. Let's go to the ensemble forecast. So, yeah. You can see the ensemble here on Weather Bell showing us definitely that strong signal. 2 strong systems maybe. Big signal here, and a mixed signal in the Gulf of Mexico. So you could really see why I use ensembles as well. Again, when people say that, oh, David, there's not going to be a major hurricane coming in, It's not on a deterministic model. A deterministic is one run, one model. Okay. The ensemble is a blend of different possibilities. And so you can see this is not Kirk here. This is our next system. This is Kirk up here. And this is another system that we have to watch. So there are 3 distinct areas to watch out there in the tropics in the next 5 to 7 days. And so there's not 51 different hurricanes, 51 hurricanes on Kirk. They're just different members, if that makes sense. So there's actually, if we go and look at, let's go and look at the Central Atlantic. So if we go back there, let me see. Yeah. So if we go to member 1 to 25, so you can see here, here's member 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and it goes all the way up to 25. So this is basically showing you 25 different members, okay, that are on the same modeling, and you can see each member is slightly different. Not every member is the same. You can see that right there, okay? See the difference? And you can see our second system there on some of the members too. So there is a stronger signal on that, and then that moves out of view. But then look at our second system. You can see that one. That's on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. 22 members out of 25 of them in total. Anything with the black mark on your screen indicates that a system would be there. That's our second system, by the way. So this is kind of giving us a range of possible outcomes. It really is. Someone said, I just reached 30,000. Almost. We're almost there. Almost. Almost. One more click. One more sub, folks. One more. Who's going to be my 30,000th subscriber? If you are the 30,000th subscriber, just let me know. You did it. No, I didn't. Did I? No, no, it's not on. There we go. Now, wow, that took a little bit. Who was the 30,000th? Who was my 30,000th? Now we got to keep it there. We do have to keep it there, though. I'll be live here probably for another 10 or 15 minutes. I unsubscribed, then subscribed again. Oh my gosh, Justin. Don't break the number now. Don't break the number. Thank you, Heidi. I want to thank you all. I really do. Can't believe it. This channel is 2 years in 2 weeks old. And wow, we've come a long way. We really have. Can't wait for the winter season. If you guys are here for the winter stuff, for the United States, I will be here just like I am for hurricane season. And we'll do it again for severe weather season. Boy, oh boy, I'm hoping my availability for next year is a lot better. It should be. Because, boy, I'm just hoping and I'm hoping and I'm hoping I can stream more often on severe weather. I really hope I can. Thank you, MZ. I do appreciate it. I really do. We will bring you for the treacherous journey on the vast platform of winter weather. Yes. Congratulations for all the hard work and reports. I tuned in through Helene in Gainesville, Florida. Thank you. Yeah, I'm really blessed that you all did follow me from that Hurricane Helene. The damage, the impacts were just absolutely catastrophic. That's why I had to donate. I literally had to donate $512. And my grandma even told me that you should not be posting that stuff on social media or on YouTube. But that's my proof. I wanted to show you guys proof that David actually donated. David actually, because in the past, not going to try to bring this onto this channel. In the past, people would say, did David really donate? He says he's going to donate, but he never does. He never does. And then I would donate and people would be like, no, you didn't, David. Stop your lying. Stop this. Okay. That's why I had to literally post that, because it's showing you all that, oh, David did donate. He followed through. He actually followed through then with what he actually said. So that's why I did that. I subscribed on December 10th, 2021, which unfortunately was the day of the Western Kentucky tornado. Yes, I remember that. Tracking that tornado outbreak. Oh, man. The Mayfield tornado. Yeah, that was bad. Very, very bad. That was like an EF6 tornado right there. Not that it was an EF6, but there's no such thing as EF6. But it was really strong and long-tracked. Oh, what's going on at the doctor's, Diana? Hopefully nothing bad at all. Hopefully you're healthy. You're a healthy viewer. I didn't even know it was happening before I clicked on this channel. Well, I'm glad you found me, Titan. Yeah, I'm gonna do more severe weather. Now, as you all know, severe weather season is, I have seasons on the channel, as you know. Hurricane season, of course, you all know, is technically from about June 1st. Sometimes it runs earlier. If there's high confidence that this season was going to be a hyperactive season, that would assume that we get more activity in June, then my season would start a little earlier. We'll see about next year. Every year is different, but if next year is expected to be very busy, which I have a feeling it's going to be again, that's why we may have to start earlier, or probably about a week before June, and then we would run all the way through at least mid-October. In this case, probably through at least mid-October, even late October, just depending on when the tropics decide to slow down again. We'll see. We may have a lot of activity through early November, but guaranteed by mid to late November, though, we will, by at least mid-November, we will be on top of the winter weather across the United States. U.S. weather forecasts will return, and a lot of you were wondering, when is, I'm here for United States weather forecasts, and David hasn't been doing anything like that. Don't worry. I'm so aware, but what is there to do if there's nothing going on across the United States, right? So that's why I'm doing the tropics. Also, what else? My winter weather forecast, folks, winter weather forecast is going to be released. I have a release date on that. That will be released on the 5th of September, or not 5th of September, 5th of October. Between the 4th and the 5th of October, it will be released at about 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Maybe a little earlier. I have not decided on the exact release time of that. I still need to make some of the graphics for that, and then it should be all set in stone. I can't do it today because I'm working, but tomorrow I will have a lot more free time. Thank goodness that these storms will be moving over the waters and not impacting land. So I will be doing tropical updates, but we'll probably have a video out every other day on it unless something big changes, because I will need to put a lot of my time now into making my winter a forecast for you all that needs to be released. It's already going to be delayed by a little bit because of what we had with Helene. And that is a very unfortunate situation there. And so my winter forecast will be out, hopefully by at least the end of this coming week, or the end of this week, that is. All right. Any more questions, anybody? Any more questions? If you have not subscribed yet, please consider doing so. You guys are really awesome. Can't believe it. We've made it this far with 30K subscribers. You guys are just awesome. Really awesome. You do a very good job and you are appreciated. You are donating your time to keep us informed. That is a way of giving thanks. Thank you so much, Jay Height. And yeah. After all, this is my second job. I mean, I don't have this just as my sole job. I have another job outside of YouTube that I do. Of course, living in CA is very expensive, okay? It's not cheap. It really isn't. So, no, I'm not doing it for the money. Don't think that I'm doing it for the money. I do it because I love doing it. I enjoy doing this. I promise you guys that. But you know, there's earnings on YouTube. It's called partnership. I think it's the partner program it's called. And you need so many subs and watch time for that. So, oh my gosh, can these bots go away? I'm actually going to contact YouTube right after this to figure that out. That I have a lot of bots on my YouTube channel. I moved to Valdosta, Georgia from Helene. Oh, from Helena, Montana. I cannot fathom a snowstorm right now. Oh my, so you went all the way from Montana all the way, wow. You went from a pretty cool state, cold state in climatology terms to a really warm climate. See, if I moved anywhere, I would move in the upstate or the upper Midwest, like the Michigan area, or the Northeast. Maybe in, say, Minnesota or the Dakotas. Even so, it gets hot and humid in the summertime. Boy, it's nice and cool in the wintertime. How's it looking for the 5th? So for the 5th of, let's just go to here. So for the 5th of October, these are increments of 24 hours. So for October the 5th, it looks pretty good, other than we do have to watch what goes on in the Gulf of Mexico. There's a mixed signal. Some models are picking that up for maybe a tropical depression or storm, maybe a hurricane, and some models and their ensemble members are not doing much with it. So there's a little bit more uncertainty and a mixed signal in the Gulf of Mexico on our system that develops or potentially may get better organized from, say, the northwestern Caribbean. And the reason why is there's more dry air with this next system developing. Boy, Titan, you're getting a good workout, brother. You're getting a good workout, my guy. Good job for keeping up on it. Looks like Christie is going to form in the Eastern Pacific soon. Oh, yeah, I need to show you all the Eastern Pacific before I head off. Let's see. Man, there is 2 systems that do develop here. Yeah. And then there's another one after that. So there is more development. This has been a pretty active area recently. But is a December storm possible? Possible, but not likely. Hurricane season really closes off by, again, it depends on the timing of the next MJO. If things look ripe enough, maybe by late October, early November, things could get busy again. That's another month from now, because the MJO does propagate around the globe. And when that returns again, it may not be until late October or early November. All right, it's usually offset by about a month and a half. So it takes about, I would say, about 45 to 60 days for it to orbit the globe once. And you can see if we go to the MJO really quickly, it's going to be moving into this phase right here. Let's go to full screen. So you can see it's right now in phases 1 and almost in phase 2. But then look what it does. It's going to go into the null phase. And the only time it would be able to get more favorable is if it skipped these phases and then returned out like this and it moved through. Then we might see some surprise development by late October, because assuming this would be October the 14th, the 15th, the 16th, so it would be more like late October, if anything, if we are able to get the MJO back around into phases 8 and 1, which would be in the Western or Eastern Pacific, as well as, say, in the tropical Atlantic. The GFS is a little different with its evolution. It actually goes more like this. So it actually goes into phase 2 and 3 and 4, and this would be through the middle of October. So assuming it goes from here to here for the first half of October, it'd go from here to probably over here through the end of October, which would be phase 8. So probably not even until very late October or early November when it gets back into a favorable zone again, which actually, by the way, it was pretty favorable, surprisingly, with Helene. It formed in phases, well, when the MJO was kind of in the null phase, but kind of in phases 7 and 8. So it will be interesting to see if that happens again, if it moves back into phases 7 and 8 by late October or early November. Because the MJO, you need forcing, you just don't need moisture, you don't need light wind shear, you need a background state that is conducive for TC genesis. Oh, these bots are freaking annoying. Really annoying. You're doing great, Titan. I do appreciate you very much. Okay, I need to know, do you expect storms to head far west, even towards the east coast of Florida and the United States? East Coast. Right now, this is the latest spaghetti plot. I'm just going to bring up the whole image. Actually, no, this is a 0-Z run. My bad. Let me bring up the full run. So this is the full run, the 12Z output from the EPS or Ensemble Prediction System. And there is a signal definitely in the Gulf for something. How big will that be? We just don't know right now. There are many tracks on this. There's 1, there's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and yeah, there's like 6 or 7 tracks that do bring this to major hurricane or hurricane intensity. So this needs to be watched. This needs to be watched carefully. The operational Euro is not very optimistic about it, but regardless of how significant tropical development is here for the Florida Panhandle and the mainland of Florida, like Orlando, could get quite a bit of heavy rainfall and flooding. All right, remember, let's not really focus on how strong this is going to get. Let's focus on, will it bring a lot of rainfall? The answer is this could bring formidable amounts of rainfall, possibly 5 to 8 inches, maybe 9 inches of rainfall if the models continue to indicate that. But there are some members with, okay, so here's Kirk right in here. So this is Kirk. This is our second system. So there are some members that do bring this still far enough west to say like maybe 70 degrees west in longitude. So that is kind of in line with the Dominican Republic, but not really in line yet with the eastern seaboard. And this time of the year, in order to get something to hit the United States on the East Coast, you're absolutely going to need a system to develop somewhere down here, and it literally has to move northward and impact the East Coast. Because this time of the year, you start getting your westerlies. Your westerlies start getting stronger because, again, it's fall, right? It's going to be October tomorrow. A month ago, maybe this would have been able to go much further west, so towards the east coast of the United States, okay? But now it doesn't seem like that's going to happen for the time being because of our westerlies. Our background westerly flow here means that the system is going to turn north sooner rather than later, because if it turned north later, look at what the difference would be, okay? So I just wanted to make that clear, that there is a slim possibility, but not likely. Not likely. So hopefully that answered your question, Alex. Yeah, we are concerned about that, and that's why we will be doing updates as long as these ensembles stay pretty hefty on this. That's the EPS. Let me see the GEFS ensemble. What is that showing? Yeah, see, it's all showing something. Oops, what's that all about? Okay, so you can see, here's the GEFS ensemble. Showing a signal too in the Gulf of Mexico, and still some impacts maybe for Florida. But let's not forget about that second system. There are still members, even on the GEFS ensemble forecast, showing us a hurricane or major hurricane, okay, over the Windward Islands versus the Euro, which is this, definitely a different signal. So the Euro is right with the disturbance in the Caribbean 2 days ago. Not necessarily. I'm not saying the Euro is right or wrong, but I mean, we have to look at the majority. There is a strong signal with that second system, and if the NHC is highlighting it in red, let's go back over here. There is a 90% chance of tropical development. That's a very likely chance that it's going to develop. It's very likely at this point. And after all, it is hurricane season. Technically, we are in September still. We are in September. And look at what we may have. We have Kirk. In fact, let me see, 2024 Atlantic hurricane season. And if we go and look at this, we can see that we have had 6 named storms in September. 6 named storms in September. So in general, September has been more active than August and July, and also in June. While June had 3 named storms, July had no named storms. Well, July did because we had Beryl, but origin, when they start forming up, we did not have any origin point storms at all in July. Nothing formed in July, but things persisted like Beryl did. And then you had Debbie that formed in early August, Ernesto after that. Remember, Debbie and Ernesto were land impacted systems. Even so, Ernesto was technically more over water than land. It did impact Bermuda and the Virgin Islands in the windwards. Okay, and then we have Francine, then we had Gordon, then Helene, then Isaac, and now Joyce, and now Kirk. And Kirk will be our next major hurricane. It will be, and then we have Leslie behind that could form in early October. That will form in early October because tomorrow is October. So, yeah, this season is definitely backloaded. We will see if we get anything in late October or early November, though. That is to remain in question right now. We can only track so much at a time. But yeah, it is awkward. We did not have a very busy early to mid-September like we did back in 2020. But we also have had we have had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then once we get Leslie, that will be 8. That will be 8 names, 8 hurricanes of the Atlantic hurricane season. 8, and keep in mind, we only have had 1, 2, 3, 4 tropical storms. So see, we have had more intense systems this season than more tropical storms. And you can see if we go back and look at 2020 really quickly, let's look at that really, and you can see the difference here, right? Look at how many tropical storms. We did not really get our first major hurricane until Laura in mid to late August-ish, right? But look at how many storms or hurricanes. 1, 2, 3, 4. Only 4 hurricanes. 4 hurricanes in September. All right, despite, we had a lot more named storms, but we only had 4 hurricanes. Well, guess what? Look at how many hurricanes we've had in September, including Kirk. Again, when Kirk becomes a Cat 4 hurricane or a Cat 3, that's what it looks like. The origin time it formed before October. That would count. That would be 4 hurricanes in September, despite less activity. Okay. So in other words, we had more named storms than hurricanes. In fact, we only had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. We had 14 hurricanes. I don't think we're going to get to 14 hurricanes because we're only up to 6 hurricanes right now. But hey, it kind of busted, but it really didn't. I mean, we still have until way over here until very late November to get development. So will we have another active period in late October into early November, or even in mid-November? We should see. Remember, Iota, let's go back. We had Iota through my birthday. Yeah, it was a rare type of system that was pretty intense down there. If we scroll all the way down, right here, Iota formed right just a couple of days before my birthday, and it persisted through my birthday into November the 18th. And look where that developed right here, and then just got really intense. So yeah, we could have something that forms in mid-November, for crying out loud, right? We still have a month and a half yet. Actually, 2 months. 2 months from today, still of the hurricane season ahead of us. Well, yeah, 1 and then 2. Yes, we have 2 more months. Kirk is 60 miles an hour now. Did they update it? Oh, they did. They did update it. Let's see what it's now calling. So it is now a 60 mile an hour tropical storm. And now let's see how strong this is going to get. So it's still going to be a Category 3 hurricane. But doesn't surprise me if this kind of goes up a little bit more. Maybe 130-ish miles an hour. They did put it a little stronger. They extended their strength. Still 120 at days 5. And so this is going to be a pretty strong, long-tracked hurricane. It's going to rack up those ace points. And again, the stronger this gets, the higher our ace points actually go. Remember, it's all about ace this year, folks. It really is. And if we go to cyclonic on this, let's go to climatology. We are right here. This is the Atlantic. And I wanted to show you this too, okay? We're right about here. We're not far below average. We're the top 33 of the most busiest seasons. And we're still ahead of 1988, which gave 102 ace points. We'll see with what Kirk does, then what our next system coming off of Africa does. Okay, those two will become major long-track hurricanes. And I could imagine if one of those becomes a Cat 4 or even stronger, I mean, that's all it takes. We can go right back up to here again and end up well above average. Here's your average mark right here on climatology. And we could end up being well above that. So only time will tell, but we were kind of lazy until recently when the season finally kind of, we added fuel to the fire. And this is our ace right now. So our ace right now is 78.27 ace points. Boy, if it weren't for Barrel, though, man, we would be way below average. We would be way down here. This season would have been one of those least active ones. What are the millibars on Kirk? Let's go back. So right now, Kirk has 999 millibars. Right now, 999 millibars. Which is actually quite strong for pressures that low. And let me read the discussion really quick. So environmental conditions are forecast to be quite conducive for strengthening during the next several days with warm waters, moist mid-levels, and low shear. Rapid intensification remains a notable possibility of this system can close off its inner core, though the latest microwave data shows that any formative eye wall is still open. Later on, the exact peak intensity is a bit of a mystery since sometimes these favorable conditions can result in most of the energy going toward producing a large but not necessarily stronger hurricane. Okay, so in other words, this is one of those hurricanes that could become very, very big. Very big, probably bigger than, more likely bigger than Helene, and probably even bigger than Ernesto, and bigger than Fiona, perhaps. So this could have a really large wind field. So even if it's Cat 3 hurricane, I don't know if size is taken into consideration with ace points. If it is, boy, this could be a huge, huge, huge ace producer storm. This could really be big. Any more questions? Boy, I have to actually head off in about a couple of minutes. I don't think you guys have any more questions. By the way, thank you for the $20 donation earlier, Angela, Commander. I do appreciate that donation. I really do. Yeah. How is our ace calculated? Strength of the system, how long it's been at that strength for. So Barrel was a long track hurricane. It was a long-lived track hurricane. And you can see it right here. Let's go back to Barrel. If we click on Barrel, we can see that you can see where it started. It started all the way over here. And look at it. It went all the way back to the west. Like this. So this was a long-tracked hurricane. Really long-tracked. Can you please cover Super Typhoon? Yes. Let me go over that really quickly. But I do need to head off shortly here. So there's a Super Typhoon. It looks, man, it's really moving slow. You can see the hurricane right there, or the typhoon. Let me see if we got visible on it. No, we do not. So we have to use infrared. But this is that typhoon. This is Cathrone, or something like that. Southwest of Taiwan in the Western Pacific. We'll see. Maybe Kirk does something like this. Has a really large, like eye-like system. And once again, I am planning to live stream that for members only. Members only. Okay, perhaps. Members only live stream on Kirk. Flying into Kirk via Flight Simulator. And may have to do something with our second system that develops. Could be a Cat 5. Oh, yeah, for sure. It could certainly be a Cat 5 Typhoon. Looks like a white donut. It sure does. With pink frosting on it. It looks like it really is getting its act together. The eye is not really fully clear right now, though. It's still clouded, as you can see there. So, yeah. Intense typhoon over there happening in the eastern hemisphere. All right, folks. I think that's going to sum it up for this live stream. Thank you all for tuning in. I do appreciate it. And I want to say thank you all for getting me to 30,000 subscribers. If you have not subscribed yet, please consider doing so. Please, please, please. It really means a lot to me. Because, yes, I will have more on the Tropics tomorrow. But also we'll have to work on my winter forecast, winter seasonal update for you all that are probably wondering about what the winter season is going to do. But anyways, thank you all for tuning in to this live stream on the Tropics. As always, have a good rest of your Monday. I'll see you back here tomorrow.